So I wanted to record a little video to kind of give you some inspiration about what it would be like to start working in the video games industry, say this year. What would it take? How would I approach it? And you might be asking, well, who are you? Why would I care? I've been working in the video game industry for over a decade. I've worked at Activision. I have worked freelance through Liquid Development, and I currently work at more of a AA studio for a very long time, making a lot of VR products and then also location based products. And so when I look at how I entered the games industry, it was through internet contexts like things like Polycount. So Polycount back in the day was an awesome resource to use because there was a lot of professionals that were kind of like hanging out on the internet that worked at professional studios that you could ask and get advice from. And so I actually, back in the day, would post on Polycount, which is still around, and I would basically post my work and ask people like, hey, is this good enough? What should I improve on? How should I do this? And looking into people that are trying to break into the games industry today, I would look and say the number one thing for any career, I don't care what it is, games or aside, is just who you know. That's the number one most important thing. If you are sitting alone, just making art, you definitely can break in if you are the best in the world. If you are less than the best in the world, the next best thing you can do is, first of all, have great art. And the next one is, let's say, who you know. Because honestly, anytime someone gets hired in the video games industry, most of the time, you will reach out to your friends first and foremost. And when you reach out to your friends, they are the first ones that say, hey, I need a job. I can already trust this person. I already know this person. And if you feel defeated by that because you're like, oh man, I don't know anyone in the games industry right now. Like, we live in probably one of the best times for finding resources and being able to talk to professionals, not only through things like Discord. I think Discord is extremely important because it allows you access to a lot of 3D artists that let you post stuff in kind of a more personal one-on-one way. But also you do have things like Twitter and stuff where you can go out and post your work and say, hey, this is what I'm working on. This is who I am. This is where I want to go. And so I would make it my first goal if I was trying to start working in the games industry, specifically as an artist, to try to make just a few contacts. You're not trying to hit 1,000 people. You're trying to find a couple people and maybe send a message or a DM or just something that kind of like hits one or two people and reach out and say, hey, I'm just trying to get a feel if I'm even close to be good. What can I do with this specific piece? What can I improve on this? Instead of just vaguely being like, hey, will you hire me? Always tailor it to, a particular piece of art you're working on. I think that'd be really important. Now, also, working in games, as of right now, we look at the future coming on of like 2025 and what is AI going to do to the games industry? And we really don't know. But I do take a more optimistic view of what video games could be, and especially with AI. And I think that a lot of the AI tools are just going to improve workflows. I don't think art and the whole pursuit of art in games is going to go away fully to AI. Things will obviously be automated away, but I feel like it's just going to be a tool that makes you move even faster. Like, I am old enough to remember texturing everything in Photoshop before Substance, and Photoshop has its place, but man, it feels like you can move so much faster texturing, unwrapping, doing all the tedium that just gets in the way of the creative process, that I really see that as kind of where we're going to go with art in general. And so I wouldn't be afraid of what that means for your job or career, especially going into the next year. We are also seeing basically like kind of like the industry shrinking like a little bit, in my opinion, because there was a lot of people that were trying to make like a ton of money and they were kind of like, oh, games is a cash cow. We should invest and we're going to do all this stuff that's real scuzzy that players don't like. And we've kind of seen the backlash of that. And ultimately, you know, as much as it sucks temporarily, I do see a near future where developers and people come up with new, fresh ideas. A lot of small indies basically have a really good opportunity, in my opinion, right now to kind of pursue the ability to like stand out because there's not a lot of like big competition. And so I think that's going to be another angle that if you didn't want to work for a big AAA, I think having that weird indie idea that some AAA studio is going to steal in the near future is still a really great way to think about like, hey, this is a renaissance where there's not a lot of big games on the ticket every month. Like I remember even a few years ago, it's like good luck standing out because there was always this next big game. And right now everything is so samey that there's just so much opportunity for you to stand out just to make something even small. I mean, look at, if you haven't played it, Balatro. It's poker with modified. It's excellent. I'm not saying it's easy to do that, but it really, even a few years ago, wouldn't have stood out at all because there'd just be so much bigger games kind of standing out. So I think it's like an interesting thing to think about is just where we're going to go in games like that. And then ultimately, like, you know, breaking in it's just about practicing. Kind of like, you know, we're talking right now and I'm just kind of fuddling around playing because I hadn't learned Blender before. And I really do think that as a 3D artist, that as someone that's used 3ds Max when I first started my career and then Maya forever, Blender really is the future. I don't know where it's going to go. I honestly believe that at some point, you know, we talk at work and stuff too about just how annoying Autodesk is about not updating or not adding features or not adding tools. And the idea that you can add a plugin that just works very quickly to do what you need to inside of Blender is massive. I mean, I would never stop learning new tool sets, but things like Blender just introduce so many new ideas and ways of working that if I was trying to break in, I don't think I would learn Maya or anything like that. I think I would just try to learn Blender and then show people just how well you can model and what you can model. And so that way, if they're like, well, we only have Maya licenses, at least you can be like, well, I have the skills. Because ultimately, as an artist, you are hired first and foremost that you can make good art. The second most important thing after you can make good art is that can you make it optimized and can you make it run well in a game? And so keep those things in mind when you're kind of reaching out and trying to break into the games industry, especially as an artist, and be a good artist first. I always tell people that. The second thing is be good at optimizing, be good at topology, be good at reusing your UV space. All of those things, they really do kind of add up over time and make a big difference in terms of your abilities. So yeah, I just wanted to put some words of encouragement out there and give some people some guidance if they were never in the games industry. Again, feel free to leave a comment on this video and let me know if there's something you want me to cover or talk about. And we can kind of go from there. But again, I wish you all the best of luck in 2025. And I hope if you really want to pursue working in the games industry as your dream, I would go for it. I've made a career out of this my entire life, and at times it can be a little scary, but I don't think it's any scarier than any other career. So never give up on yourself, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Cheers.